Question 22. Why do you claim to be skeptical when you're unwilling to change your mind? Actually, being skeptical is what caused me to change my mind about Christianity. It's what caused me to first leave Christianity and become an atheist. It's what then caused me to change my mind on a lot of my more anti-theistic positions. Because if people remember my channel from when it first came out, I was a lot more antagonistic towards Christians on the whole. And over time, I realized that that was literally me just being angry at the lies I was told as a child, not realizing that everybody else's experiences were not necessarily the same. All right, we got a video, and we're going to try to get through as many of them as possible, but it is literally titled 100 Questions for Atheists. It is so rare to see one of these videos in the wild anymore. The age of the fedora tipping atheist on YouTube has certainly waned in lieu of more philosophical conversations. So I do cherish whenever one of these actually do crop up. So 100, but half of them are going to be the same. We'll find out. I have not seen the video. This is going to be a blind answering or reaction too. If we can't get through all of them in one video, we'll make this video a two-parter. It's just what we're going to have to do. But first, we have to get to the fan art section. This one is from Knitted Cryptid. I'm just getting back into drawing and did this on a break at work, watching one of your videos. I tried to do the winter one. Oh, so the one we're wearing right now. Ah, sweet. They have not one, but two. One without the glasses and one with the glasses there. One short hair, one long hair. That's a thing. I need to get Remixin to let me get this model with a ponytail. That's a thing that I need, so I can have this model's hair up. Because that's what this makes me think. Just having short hair, something like that. That's a thing for later. We'll figure that out later. The next piece we have is from Sky Lily 222220. Mushroom assimilation complete. Zombie mushroom Suris. This might be my fate one day, and I do not like it. I do not wish to go this way. I do not wish to be assimilated into the mushroom colony. It's cool, but also dangerous. And also, let's talk about curse. Let's talk about cursed content. Let's talk about what happens when Smacko creates Rouge the Bat Suris. Smacko says, Suris Rouge was mentioned on Sunset City today. And what starts in Sunset City does not stay in Sunset City. Jesus Christ. You have no idea how tempted I am to get a version of this outfit, but in my character's colors with my necklace. So Bat Cat Girl, yes. So that's not cursed, that's blessed. Ivana, if that's what you think, then you have not spent as much time as I have in the middle of the Sonic the Hedgehog community. You have not. Jordy Vision, thank you very much for redeeming your points, friend. Oh well. Said include the wings. Oh, I would include the wings. Canonically, my character is definitely a slime and can definitely shapeshift. If you don't believe me, I'm gonna have to show you a picture that is being worked on by Pernia real quick. Like, if you don't believe me, this is being worked on for a project. So, like, it's possible. My character could spout wings if I so chose. Said, you're assuming lewd is cursed, is actually blessed, has nothing to do with being lewd, has everything to do with being Sanic. Okay, I lied. This is not as far as it's gone. Literally, I just got a message from Pernia, an update on it, and it is beautiful. Explained by Rouge Suris is cursed. Firesparks, I will not explain the fact that Sonic Adventure 2's Rouge the Bat with her jiggle physics was probably the sexual awakening for literally millions of children, both male and female. I will not explain that to you, and the fact that those were conversations that I certainly had with people when I was fucking 12, but I guess I just did. We're gonna do the other content that proves that God has abandoned us. Pause if you want to read. This is how the video works. Every 6 seconds, the video will move on to another question. You can obviously speed up or slow down this video in the video settings if you wish. In the description, there will be a 1 through 100 numbered list that is blank. You can copy and paste this into your comment and fill in the questions as they appear on screen. If you would like to pass on any of the questions, simply write pass in the empty field, so I know you didn't just forget. If you would like, you can make your own video responding to these questions. I'm curious to see what your response is. Good luck. All right. I have no idea if it's just music. I'm not gonna play the music. So question 1, why don't you believe in God? Is there like a... Nope, it's just music in the background. Why don't you believe in God? Okay, pretty easy. I just don't. I have not found a sufficient reason to reestablish my belief in God since it pretty organically dispersed away. Most arguments for God tend to be rooted in some form of logical fallacy or literally be a God of the Gap style argument in that you just don't know. I am a brand of atheist that generally says that I don't know if God is real. So the answer to why don't I believe in God? Because I don't know. I have no evidence. So, question 2, where is your evidence that God doesn't exist? That's not how evidence works. We prove positives. We don't try to prove negatives. Generally speaking, if I ask you, if there is a random ass teapot in the middle of the universe that's invisible, you don't go prove to me that I don't tell you prove to me it doesn't exist, because then you have to scour the entire fucking universe to find this pot. It's on you, the person who is claiming something, to prove that God exists. Now, granted, if I say God certainly does not exist, the burden of proof does fall on me. That is how these things work. I don't personally make that claim, though. I don't really believe God exists. I believe there are certain versions of God that certainly can't exist because they are logically incongruent. Things like saying, I have an all-good, all-powerful, omnipresent God. I would say that no, you don't, because the presence of evil in a world where your God had to have created everything, an all-good being cannot create evil, should not be able to create evil. Things like that. Like, there are arguments against specific variants of God. But this is where we get into the difference between a local and a global atheist. I technically am neither of these things. I am technically agnostic. I use atheist as a colloquialism. But truth be told, a local atheist is going to have a grouping of gods and arguments that they have evidence for or arguments against. And then there are going to be global atheists who say they reject all kinds of gods in all situations. I am neither of those two flavors. The next question we have is, why do you hate God? There's 2 ways to answer this. One, I don't hate your God. I can't hate a fictional character. And when I say hate, I mean hate in the way that I hate somebody who harms a friend of mine, or I hate an abusive parent of someone who I care about. I can't hate God in that capacity, as God doesn't exist. Now, the second thing to this is you can hate fictional characters. I do hate the Christian God in the same way that I hate Voldemort. So I guess I guess it comes down to I hate the Christian God not in the way that I hate J.K. Rowling, because she's an actual monster who harms people. I hate God in the way that Voldemort is hated. He's a monster he's a fictional monster who has harmed fictional children. So, not the same thing. Very different brands of hatred. Question 4, do you believe in the existence of Jesus? I believe there was a dude who the cult of Christus was based on, yes. His name may or may not have been Jesus, likely was. I believe that the passages in the Bible certainly have exaggerations over who that person was. But do I believe that the person existed? Yeah. I don't have a reason to believe he didn't. And most historians believe he did, at least on a base level. If no, where's your evidence that Jesus did exist? Again, we're doing this prove a negative thing. We're doing this prove a negative thing. You've got to provide evidence that Jesus existed, not the other way around. But if I were to say the statement Jesus did not exist, then I might fall into the somewhat Richard Carrier style of Jesus mythicism. Again, that's not who I am, not my belief structure, and I don't tend to align myself with Carrier's arguments. Why do you hate Jesus? I don't. In fact, okay, so as a character, I don't hate Jesus. I think that turning the other cheek is at least a thing. Yarakoro, hello. There's certainly a lot of ideas that Jesus had that I do not hate. There are certain ones that I don't like. Jesus did say that slaves need to obey their masters. So he did offer literal pro-slavery arguments. I'm not a huge fan of those things. I also find his stories to be pretty mundane. Let's talk about the fact that he's supposed to be an omni-god who is all-powerful, and yet we're supposed to be impressed with his ability to create fish and loaves of bread. We're also supposed to be impressed with him resurrecting himself, more so impressed with him dying on the cross, which again feels weird to me. We're talking about a character who effectively is losing a weekend, and that's supposed to be impressive. Like, you lost 2 days of your life. Okay, cool. That happened to me too when I went to work. I don't hate Jesus, but I do find him not super interesting. Now there is an aspect of this we got to talk about too, though, and that is, if we take the triune idea of God, then all of my arguments for hating Voldemort versus J.K. Rowling all exist here as well with Jesus, because if we're going to call Jesus literally God as well, ignoring the issues with that, we take a full-on triune approach, then all of my conversations about God, they spill over. 2022 miracle equivalent of making fish and bread is making more graphics cards. Question 7, have you ever read the Bible? Yes, I actually have 5 of them in my house. I read them fairly frequently, usually when I'm looking up certain passages that I need, or if I'm having fun whenever somebody tells me that X thing is most certainly not in the Bible, and I get to open up the Bible and say, actually, no, it wasn't. It certainly was in the Bible. The most recent things in there was I had a friend who didn't believe me when I told them that Lot was raped by his daughters in an incestuous drunken rage so that they could repopulate his family line by appropriating his precious seed into their ancestral vagubus. That was a thing that he didn't believe was in the Bible, so I pulled to Genesis and found it. And then there was the one about the woman lusting over men who had emissions like a horse and were hung like donkeys. You know, that one that he also said, like, that sounds like somebody made that up. That's not in the Bible. And I got to grab that one and go, no, that's definitely in it. That's definitely in the Bible. Let's go ahead and do that. So yes, I have read the Bible. I was a Christian for more than 18 years. I actually took courses on my own faith because I originally wanted to be a theologian before I lost my faith and became an atheist. So yeah, I have read the Bible. I have. Question 8, do you believe people have souls? No, I don't really have much of an evidence for those things. If no, where's your evidence? Again, we're doing this thing. If you cannot prove to me a soul exists, you are the claimant. I don't have a belief in souls, as proper evidence for souls has not been presented to me. That is how that works. Please prove a soul exists. Question 10, do you reject all gods or just Christian God? So I'm agnostic on all God propositions. I really don't know. The Christian God might exist. If the Christian God does exist, then I would assume that he exists in a way not like Christians generally believe, not as described in the Bible. But my real answer to that is generally, I don't know. For all gods. For all gods. Except one. There is one God. Hold on. There is one God I do believe in. I do believe in one God. Hold on. I'm lying. I'm like 99.999999999% an atheist, but there is one. And I always forget I always forget. I would say my faith is not as strong as it should be, but I do have to show you guys, okay? Is it chaos? No. 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 There is one deity whom I'm perfectly comfortable worshiping. But I don't know if it counts. I don't know if they count. The Dark Magician Cat Girl. Fucking Striker with the 50,001 channel points. Pray to me. I will not pray to you. I will fight you to the ends of the earth. You may win the one battle forcing me to say, oh, whoa. But you will get nothing past that. God, now I unironically want a Dark Magician Girl outfit for my avatar. Why? What is wrong with me? There's a reason why I use this card in my Dark Magician deck still. I refuse to take it out. I refuse to. Salem says, I also want some. Fuck you, Salem, all of you. Why? Why do you do this? This is the worst thing about subathons. This is the worst thing about subathons. When you finish a subathon, everybody's got enough points to make you fucking suffer. Salem, for 50,001 channel points, fine. You can get one. Oh, whoa. Oh, whoa. No copy of DMG is ancient. They are all eternal. They've existed forever, and they will continue to exist forever, because Dark Magician Girl is probably the one God. The one true God. Okay, so next one. Why do you care so much about what others believe? Generally, it's because those beliefs tend to influence their actions. So I have heard from several Christian channels that their Christianity led them to arguments of homophobia, arguments of transphobia, arguments of general bigotry against people against other who are part of other religions. Another big one is things like the suffering doctrine, the idea that women are inferior to men. A lot of these things tend to stem from Christian beliefs. Now, it doesn't mean that all Christians believe these things. I most certainly didn't believe half of them as I got older, though I still kept my Christianity into my adulthood. But as there was a propensity for there to be religiously oriented bigotry, I tended to argue against that stuff. So it's more that I care about what people believe insofar as it affects the actions they take. Decoradol, thank you for redeeming your points for an Ada. You fucking monster. Also, Yarakoro, thank you for being on the right side of history for once. Oh, well. Oh, well. Said, why do you care so much, video person? Yeah, I know. Question 12. Where do you get your sense of right and wrong from? Generally, argumentation. Argue with me over why something is right or wrong. Provide good argument or evidence. Then we'll tend to get there. I tend to be a bit of an error theorist where moral propositions are concerned. I think most moral propositions are wrong on the face of themselves and then get sussed out after the fact. That's just me. I want to do unto others, not as they would have me do, not as I would have done unto me, but as they would have me do unto them. Which makes it very distinct from the Bible's icky golden rule. Question 13. What evidence would persuade you that God exists? I'm going to go ahead and give the Matt Dillahunty style cop-out answer here because I think it's the most fair one. If we're talking about an omni-God, my answer to this doesn't matter. An omni-God knows exactly what will convince me and has actively chosen not to do it. I know it's a cop-out answer. I recognize that, but I also think it's probably the most honest answer. I don't know the evidence that would persuade me because so many of the things that I can conceive of a God doing, I could also conceive of being done with sufficiently advanced technology. So what would convince me beyond a shadow of a doubt? I don't know, but an omni-God would and should and chooses not to do. Question 14. Why are you against the idea of faith? Am I? I'm not against the idea of faith, personally. If somebody wants to have faith in a God, or somebody finds himself having faith in a God, I don't have a problem with that, so long as that faith does not negatively affect their decision-making when it comes to other aspects of life. I have friends who are pagan. I have friends who are Christian. I have friends who are in a variety of faiths and non-faiths alike. I have friends who are in religions that do not have anything to do with a God of any kind. I am not against the idea of faith. It's just not for me, and I sincerely hope that if somebody has faith in something, they do it for good reasons, and also do not let it influence their decision-making negatively going forward. In my experience, typically that is not the case, however, and there's where my channel comes in. All right, next one we have is question 15. Why do you attack Christians? I don't. I argue against them. Question 16. Why do you hate Christians? Again, I don't. I argue against them and their ideas, the ones that I deem toxic. 17. Why do you mock and scoff at Christians? I don't. But I do mock and scoff Christianity, because Christianity is something that I was a part of. And I am allowed to mock and scoff something that I was a part of for the majority of my life. I will do that in a heartbeat, and I believe I'm well within my rights to, as I am a former Christian. Question 17. Are you aware that you are fulfilling biblical prophecy? 2 Peter 3:3-4. Know this, first of all, that in the last days mockers will come from their mocking, yada, yada, yada. Okay, cool. So let me ask you a question. If you were to write a book that was trying to convince everyone that it was true, would you not write a passage in that book somewhere that said that when people deny that what's said in the book is true, that is more evidence that it's true? Would you not write that passage? Feels like it would literally be the most mundane thing to toss in your book. Given that that's the case, you showing me a passage from your book that says that if you argue against the book, you're proving the book more right. No, that's not how this shit works. You provide actual evidence. You don't say that persecution complex makes you right. Question 19. Why do you want to stop people from believing in God? I don't. Again, I've got plenty of Christian friends. I've got plenty of friends who believe in more gods than you can count. I don't want people to stop believing in God, but I do want people to stop believing for bad reasons. Because when you believe in God for bad reasons, you tend to believe other stuff for bad reasons, and that leads to you having usually pretty terrible politics. Question 20. Why do you give Muslims a pass? Atheists don't give Muslims a pass. Generally speaking, the atheist community does not give Muslims a pass. Now, if the question was a little more nuanced and argued that there's a higher propensity for atheist content to focus on Christians instead of Muslims, that is because there is a higher amount of Christian propaganda in the States, and the States are generally where most atheist content creators are located, like the States and Canada. We don't have a higher general population of Muslims here. It's mostly Christians. It's also mostly Christians that are our lawmakers. So usually when we're arguing against religious doctrine, it tends to be Christian because that tends to be what has an influence in our lives. Question 21. Why do you pretend to have all the answers? I don't. I literally said I don't know. Question 22. Why do you claim to be skeptical when you're unwilling to change your mind? Actually, being skeptical is what caused me to change my mind about Christianity. It's what caused me to first leave Christianity and become an atheist. It's what then caused me to change my mind on a lot of my more anti-theistic positions. Because if people remember my channel from when it first came out, I was a lot more antagonistic towards Christians on the whole. And over time, I realized that that was literally me just being angry at the lies I was told as a child, not realizing that everybody else's experiences were not necessarily the same. My positions have changed a lot where the God question is concerned over the last 10 years. If we are to completely ignore that, when you write a question like this, then you're going to get an answer where I have to, answer like this. Being a skeptic isn't about, I do agree with what Red Oni VA said. Being a skeptic isn't about changing your mind. It's all about observing evidence and being able to change your mind based on that evidence. So if somebody's a skeptic, but they happen to have already accepted all their beliefs, just as a hypothetical, based only on evidence provided, then you're going to find them not changing their mind on a lot of things, because the positions they hold that they don't answer I don't know to are all going to be based in evidence. Granted, sometimes evidence to the contrary is a thing. But still, let's go ahead and go to the next one. Why do you go after Christian museums that are just trying to tell the truth? All right, why do I go after it? Because Ken Ham is a young earth creationist who is influencing a large variety of people to be hateful bigots. And if you've ever looked at his Twitter, you can see him doing that. If you've ever listened to one of his sermons, you can see him doing that. Why do I go after Christian museums? Because they're ran by anti-humanitarian bigots. There, boom. Sorry, had to go ahead and do the had to go ahead and reference Ken Ham there. But how can I claim to be a Gnostic and atheist at the same time? Two ways. One, I don't. I am an agnostic philosophically, but an atheist colloquially. When you use the very loose definition of atheist, it tends to encompass me. If you use a very specific definition of atheist, I tend to fall outside of that definition. An atheist is somebody that believes that God does not exist, per strict philosophical terms, and an agnostic is somebody that suspends their belief on the position in pure philosophical terms. I am an agnostic in pure philosophical terms. But colloquially, an atheist is just anybody who doesn't believe in God, not believes God does not exist. When used in that more broad sense, I fall into that category perfectly fine. So how can I be both? Because words do not have intrinsic meaning. They have usages. Question 25. Damn, I can't get to question 25. Why do you claim to be an agnostic and an atheist? Wait, hold on. Why do you reject people's personal experiences? I don't reject them. I believe they believe those things happened. I just don't believe in the end result of those things. If somebody says they had a near-death experience and they saw heaven, I believe they had a near-death experience and they saw, quote, heaven. They saw a thing they believe is heaven. I don't believe that that thing they saw was heaven. Therein lies the difference. Question 26. If atheism is just an opinion, why do behave like it is a fact? Everyone ever operates as if their opinions are fact. Every human being on the face of the planet believes their opinions are fact. I'm sorry. Atheism is a belief, not an opinion, but in general, all human beings operate as if our opinions are correct. This is silly. You are operating as if your opinions are fact. Question 27. How do square the fact that some of the most evil people in history are atheists? Okay, they were also humans. Are all humans bad then? Like, were they evil because of their atheism? Also, you seem to have Adolf Hitler on here. And Jeffrey Dahmer as well. Wasn't Jeffrey Dahmer, like, actually confirmed Christian at the end? Hitler also... Hitler was a politician. So whether he was Catholic or whether he was atheist is up in the air 9 times out of 10. But still, if you just hand me a bunch of people and go, well, these people are atheists... Okay, was it the fact that they were atheists that influenced them to be the most evil people in the world? Or did they just happen to circumstantially also be atheist? I can hand you a list of evil Christians, if that's what you need me to do, to go Google some of the most evil people in the world, find their faith, and then go, aha, look, I can throw 8 random evil people at you who happen to be Christian. Is that a good argument then? No, it's not. Why do you believe in evolution? Because of the great propensity of evidence in evolution's favor. Why do you have it written evolution? Why do you have it written as evolution? But where is your evidence for evolution? The observed change in allele frequencies over time, leading to the diversification of life. Do you need more? Okay, the common cold. The thing that literally evolves. And it's why we can't fight it. Okay. Have you ever observed evolution? Again, why do you write it this? What the fuck is wrong with you? writing it this way. I understand Ziggy says that this person is not that bad of a person, but if you're going to write it this way, I'm going to call you what you are, a fucking idiot. We are at the point at question 30 where if you keep writing it this way, I have to say it's deliberate, and you're a fucking idiot. If you're not doing it intentionally, then I understand that that's, that's a thing. But if you're doing it intentionally, then this is bad faith and idiotic. But have you ever observed evolution? No, I have not, but I do not personally need to observe something that an expert in their field has observed. Just like I believe in the structural integrity of parts in my house, despite me not testing them because I believe that the people who renovated parts of my house did a good enough job. I believe that a mason does a good enough job with their brickwork for me to stand on it. I don't have to test every brick in existence to agree with the structural integrity of a brick. Question 31. Do you believe in abiogenesis, panspermia, or creation? Nobody fucking believes in panspermia, and if they do, they're wrong. Creation, no. Abiogenesis, maybe. We haven't proved abiogenesis, but we have been able to replicate enough of it in a lab. So, sure. Question 32. If you believe in abiogenesis or panspermia, where's your evidence? Abiogenesis would literally be the evidence that we've been able to replicate bits of it in a lab. We've been able to... the Miller and Urey experiments, as old as they are, we've been able to replicate a lot of the stuff from those experiments. So there would be my evidence. Question 33. What was the first life form? Fuck if I know. Not my field of expertise. Also, what the fuck does that have to do with atheism? Question 34. Where did the first life form come from? So, again, if we're going with abiogenesis, then we're talking about a single... Are we talking about single-celled life forms? Or are we talking about multi-celled life forms? But again, my inability to answer the question has nothing to do with the question of God. Zero to do with the actual conversation about God. But where did the first life form come from? I don't know. Honest answer. I don't know. Doesn't matter. Question 35. Could the first life form reproduce on its own? So single-celled life forms reproduce in a different way than we understand ourselves to reproduce. The formation of eggs and shit like that is different than cell division. So yes, maybe, question mark. Did the first life form have DNA? As far as I know, no, it was far too simple for that. Question 37. Did the first life form seek out food, or did it use photosynthesis? I don't remember. Christians don't know either. Having an answer doesn't mean having the correct answer. Yeah, I agree with that assessment. Did it seek out food, or did it use photosynthesis? Again, I don't know. Doesn't matter. Are viruses alive? So by our typical classification of life, no, not really. But our classifications of life are also arbitrary, so it depends on how you look at it. Typically, we don't. So now we're just taking a microbiology exam from somebody who doesn't understand microbiology. Yes. Why do you believe in the Big Bang Theory? Not all atheists believe in the Big Bang Theory. I do, and math, basically. We've been able to trace things down to very, very close to the t=0 event, which you would know as the Big Bang. Question 40. Where's your evidence for the Big Bang? Again, literally what I just said. Us mathematically calculating things down as close as we can to the t=0 event. Question 41. Did you observe the Big Bang? No, but math is a thing. Question 42. Why do you believe the Earth is millions of years old? Radiometric dating. And it is here where now I understand that you are actually defending Ken Ham specifically, because this is a question only asked by young Earth creationists. So the answer is radiometric dating. And the fact that we've been able to observe things in the universe as well that hint to the age of the Earth, but radiometric dating is a big one. Question 43. Where's your evidence for the Earth being millions of years old? This is the same thing. Again, radiometric dating. Question 44. How old are you? I'm 30. Why does that matter? Question 45. Why do you reject the historical flood as described in Genesis? Because we have no historical evidence of the flood. I reject the historical flood because we don't have evidence of a flood. Not on a global scale and not to the extent that the Bible describes. I'm sorry. I don't remember what the event was. There was an event that caused a bunch of ruckus. What was it, 12,000 years ago? Stemming from Greenland, if memory serves. But I don't remember the actual name of the event, but that was still not the historical flood. It was the closest thing we could probably approximate to it. Why do they reject the historical zombie outbreak in Raccoon City? True. Good question. Question 46. Where is your evidence that the flood didn't happen? Again, not how these things work. Liskade Babbitt, thank you for redeeming your points for an fucking monster. But I don't have to prove the flood didn't happen. You have to prove that the flood happened. That is how these things work. Question 47. Why do you direct the story of the Garden of Eden? Because we have no evidence of a Garden of Eden. Question 41. Where's your evidence that the Garden of Eden didn't exist? There's actually only 50 questions here. There's only 50 questions. Because the second question in all of these is, where's your evidence of this? Where's your evidence of this? Again, it is not on me to find evidence that the garden didn't exist. Because what am I going to do? Scour every square inch of the earth and not find a Garden of Eden and then come to you having wasted 45 to 50 years of my life going, I have not found any place like a garden. I win. Checkmate. Like, no, I'm not going to do that. Nobody's going to do that. But nobody has found evidence of a Garden of Eden on the earth to this point in time yet. So, as we don't have evidence for the Garden of Eden, there we are. Question 49, why do you reject the sacrifice Jesus made? I got two answers to this. One, I don't really have any evidence for it. Any historical evidence that the Romans executed a Jesus 2,020 years ago, I've not really been able to see. Here's the other reason why I reject the sacrifice Jesus made. It wasn't a sacrifice. You are talking about an omniscient, omnipotent being who has existed for the entirety of time. And the fact that 2.5 days of his life, he had to sleep and then get up early one morning and move a rock to get out of bed. That is your big event? That is the big sacrifice? A being that has existed for billions of years, more than that, because, I mean, they're eternal. A weekend of their life disappearing in the blink of an eye in the face of eternity. That was supposed to be a sacrifice? If that's the case, then me cutting a bologna sandwich out of my routine today was a sacrifice. Guess what? I don't eat bologna sandwiches generally. Where is your evidence that Jesus wasn't crucified? Boy, howdy, I don't know how many times I have to tell you that it is your job to supply the evidence that Jesus was crucified, not my job to find out that your pretty pink unicorn that is invisible does not exist. The burden of proof lies with the claimant. Your religion is based on the claim that Jesus crucified himself, thereby absolving people of all of their sins till the end of time, so long as they accept him into their hearts. So you need to provide evidence of that claim, as the claim is issued by the religion. I'm sorry, but that is as far as we are getting there. That is as far as I'm willing to let us get there, because that was a bit exhausting. That was quite a bit exhausting. But you know, at least it was different. 50 questions answered. We did 50. Holy fucking shit. Like nothing Jesus did matters from a religious perspective if you don't believe God exists. Yeah. You did a good job answering those 25 questions. The Sonic level finished music just as you finished. 25 questions, every second one was the same. Yeah, every second question was the exact same question, but worded in such a way to be pointless. Anyway, okay, so, Erasmus, I don't think that you are a terrible person. I do think that the way that you worded some of those questions have been really antagonistic to the point of being stupid. But that said, I did enjoy getting through 50 of the questions, and we'll get through the other 50 in another episode. That might be tomorrow's stream. Who knows? Said, I have some bad news. My mother takes stock of the panspermia idea. Well, I guess if she wants to believe that space fucked the Earth into existence, then here we are. As always, everybody, if you want to support my channel and what I do, there's plenty of ways to do so in the description below. If you have not done so, please check out my Patreon. Hit the like button, hit subscribe, go over to my Twitch, hit follow, go to Suris.cc, all the other fun stuff. My voice hurts. Insert end of video tagline here.